Crowdus. Sorry.
Thank you. So I'm here today to talk about a project we did last September called Reimagine Crowdus. More importantly, I really want to focus on how we got to the point to even be able to do the project. As a design researcher, I focus more on the process and how do we get there before just the final design solution. So originally I'm from Colorado and I moved to Dallas in 2008. My background's in graphic design, and I was in publishing for 4 years, and then I ended up going to grad school at UNT to do design research, all to teach. I'm not teaching anymore, or at all, and so I'm actually the executive director of the Deep Ellum Foundation. All that to say is that I've been getting really comfortable with being uncomfortable for the last 9 years. But I feel like that place, that posture of being uncomfortable is where passion is ignited, is where innovation is sparked and when large steps forward are taken. And it's in that space that Reimagine Crowdus became a thing. So most of us are aware that Deep Ellum, just east of downtown, has gone through some major ebbs and flows since it was established in 1873. Right now, in its current climate of a lot of new development and businesses opening almost every other month, I've been more focused on this relational development. What happens when business owners actually get to know each other? What happens when property owners are collaborating and working together? How can the whole neighborhood benefit if we're united in our diversity? So in a place like Deep Ellum that's very large and there's not a lot of public gathering space, which I really think that having a physical space is really important to having physical interaction. You need to have the two together to really work together. But what happens in an area like Deep Ellum that doesn't really have any public gathering space? So in 2015, a group called Design Future Dallas put together a design competition, and they had over 25 different submissions from over 10 different countries, all looking at how can you redesign Crowdus Street that runs through the middle of Deep Ellum to become a pedestrian street? How can we ignite and reimagine this area? So after the competition, Design Future Dallas came to us, the foundation, just to get our feedback, and it was really timely because we've been talking about this idea for a long time, so it was really good combination of thoughts. So after the competition, I met with Greg Garman, who's one of who started Design Future Dallas, and I said, look, I'm not an architect, I'm not a city planner, I'm just a designer in a leadership role, and I got to figure out if transforming Crowdus Street is really a good idea or not. So we were at Drugstore Cowboy, a coffee shop in Deep Ellum, where we had all of our meetings, and we started building off of each other and his background, my background, and getting to this point of, let's test it. Let's build out a whole prototype that we can actually live and function in more than just a weekend. Let's do it for 30 days. So we built out a whole design team then. We had a graphic designer, we had an event planner, we had the whole production and installation. So we ended up installing 20 trees. We had 20 picnic tables. We had over 2,000 square feet of lighting. We had 10 rocking chairs. So we had one street, 3 blocks, 30 days, and 52 events. But we had to see what was going to happen. So we built it out, but we didn't know what would happen. So we waited. But we didn't have to wait long because people showed up. Because we created this physical space for physical interaction and relational development to happen. So we got to see because more important than people just being there was what were they doing in this space? How were they interacting and what were they doing? Families were coming out that had never been down there just to see the transformation. We had people were eating in this space. People were doing their work and studying with the free Wi-Fi. So we did it. Crowdus, we did it. We created a relational development in the middle of all the other developments happening. So it looked good. It looked awesome, and people came out. So then we put together a lookbook, and this is us with a lot of city staff and city officials that came out to see. We kind of put on our own public meeting to say, listen, city, you look at what we did and look at and acknowledge that we needed to go from thinking we had a good idea to knowing we had the right idea. So if the bond program ever goes through, we've been given the cautious approval to move forward, but we've also submitted it to Southwest Airlines they have a placemaking grant that we are looking to do a permanent transformation. So all of this was so fascinating for me, just to see how just planning the project just put us in conversation with people we never would have had, and it really helped build those foundational blocks for relational development. And it was all because we were really comfortable with being uncomfortable. Thank you.